Welcome to another episode of Two Whatever's Way Up. We were just talking about the fuckedness of America, and how perfect is this when we're about to talk about Fall of the House of Usher, which is Mike Flanagan's newest beautiful creation miniseries. He brought back the entire cast, baby, and he also reflected all of Edgar Allan Poe's work. And for the three of us being Baltimore natives, it cannot be any closer to our hearts. It's amazing. I think Jesse and I were talking about this, and we think the only thing that trumps this is Midnight Mass, but it is a great masterpiece of Flanagan's.
Yeah. Midnight Mass is a little bit better, but this is really, really good. It's his last thing for Netflix. Then he moves on to what is he working on now? He's working on The Life of Chuck, an adaptation of the Stephen King short story.
Talk about stacked cast. That thing is loaded.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And then after that, he's doing the Dark Tower TV show, which apparently he's written the first season. So he's just trying.
Okay.
It's written. It's just he needs money. That's the thing. That's the thing impeding progress. The money. And also a significant strike. Yeah.
You've been talking about that forever, Jesse, because you're the biggest King reader I know.
But there's a little bit of a Dark Tower reference in the last episode of the show. There's a bit of a reference. So
interesting.
I'll get to it. But anyways.
So, Seth, you just wrapped this up. So it's like super fresh.
So fresh. Oh my God.
I was about to say, because Jesse and I, we kind of like binged this. We like binged it real quick when it came out. I know I went back and I started to watch like a little bit more last night when I was at work, just to be like, get some of this stuff back fresh in my mind. But like you,
right.
What is your take? What is your biggest pop out moment?
Wow. Thinking back, the way I ended up watching this was kind of 2 episodes at a time. I would get one and I would go, man, I have to watch another. But then I would finish up the second and be like, I don't know if I can do a third one. This is so gothic, dark, heavy shit. Like some of I don't want to steal from anybody, but the one that still stands out from the early episodes is the acid bath orgy.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh man, that was
what the fuck?
Glorious.
And that's how we're starting off in this. It gets darker, it gets creepier. Holy shit. Yeah, so my takeaway walking out of this was like, no holds barred, huh? Like I didn't know what to think going into it. A lot of people were telling me like it was dark comedy, and it definitely has that, but
no,
it's dark too.
It's dark, but it might be more not comedy, but like a satire-ish. So many people don't understand what satire is or irony. So like that's, I don't know. Maybe it's comedic because they get their comeuppance.
Sure. Well, and like I think about the whole scene where he basically calls a bounty on all of his kids. Like that's kind of hilarious. This is our main character that we're going to be following through all 8 episodes, and he's like, you know what? One of y'all is going to die, and it just sets off he knew. Oh my God, I could go on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he set it up, and then to just end up. The thing is, I think he was repressing that memory too, and it didn't come to light until like everyone was haunting him. And he's like, I fucked up.
Seeing a self-fulfilling prophecy in motion and watching this slow motion car wreck, that's the whole experience of like, as you slowly recognize the way that Roderick really does get it. Like he's really understanding that some of the interactions he's even having with the ghost versions of his kids are like, yep, this is poetic justice, man. I guess I just have to sit here and take it because I've got to live on top of the world for it.
Yeah. I mean, when Death told him, it's like, you could have had a better life and your kids could have had better lives, I would call this more of a tragedy because it's like they could have been good people if they weren't spoiled fucking brats raised by an absentee parent. It's like
they could have been great if they just stayed with their mother.
Yeah. Oh no, that I like. Remember when I said that her fate was the worst and most depressing of all of them?
Oh yeah,
because she had to suffer through everything,
and then
without
you see
the
her
goodness
ghost
of riches.
Yeah, and then you see her ghost at the funeral, and she turns around. There's a hole in her head. It's like, oh no, yeah,
because she lost everything.
Yeah.
And in that moment, from the flashback to the 80s when they make the deal initially, you can tell he thought about that too. Like he knew he was to some degree like casting his wife off of his life at that point.
Yeah.
Maybe if an argument to be made that him and his sister were kind of more of a couple than he and any of his other relationships.
God,
yeah.
You know?
Well, that's in the original short stories. It's heavily implied that there is an incestuous relationship. And it's even kind of hinted in the show, but they never outright say it.
With the whole religious background, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when there's in the first episode, when they're young and they're sleeping in the same bed, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I get it.
See, I grew up very poor and slept in the same bed as my siblings while I was young. And there's an age where that becomes
well, they were
inappropriate.
but they were like 15, 16 years old sleeping in the same bed.
Yeah.
It's like, then it's like, okay, now you get your own room.
It's an odd, like I said, the show's dark, right? So they're trying to show us what trauma bonding looks like. And that's what trauma bonding looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're not becoming healthier people for the relationship either. They're very much enablers to each other.
Yeah. Can we just talk about this cast for a second? This cast has been like in every single one of Flanagan's shows. There's a few newcomers. Obviously, Mark Hamill, big one. That's the big
that
push.
I loved. The role was small, but he fucking blew it out of the water.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. That last scene with him where he's like talking to death and going like, I don't know, I'm going to take my chances. I kind of stacked the cards in my favor here. Mm-hmm. And she respects him for it. Like, what a turn for that otherwise very gruff, like one-dimensional character. We get the side of him that's like, no, I've been thinking about this too, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because you learn that they've met before. Like on his travels, because he was like on that world travel, and she's like, yeah, you saw me, I was this person, it was that person. He's like, I knew it. Like he was like, you know, he's like, he's like, oh, I recognize you now. Like it was all coming back to him.
Yeah. And I believe that is the short story of that character that they're referencing.
Very Lovecraftian kind of thing, right? Like from the Mountains of Madness kind of. He went off and had one of those adventures, and then came back and was basically invincible in our world, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, the other casting is Mary McDonnell from Battlestar Galactica. She's now in the show. She looks great with gray hair. She had she had this big hair, head of red hair in that show, and then she's getting older. It goes gray, and she's not one of those people that will dye her hair to look young.
It looks good.
I'm getting older. It's fine.
No,
it looks good.
It looks good.
I like it.
Her monologue at the end at the table with Roderick, that is a kill. That's a Mike Flanagan special. You know what I mean? He really knows how to dish out those like impactful character monologues.
Yeah.
He does.
He cut back on the monologues, in this one.
I know, but like the whole show is technically a monologue kind of. Or it's more of a narration, but like it's still like,
Yeah.
Because even Augie understands these stories to be like being told to him the way they're being told to us. Like he's commenting on things that we've seen. So I mean, it's almost like it's all monologue if you think about it that way.
It's true.
Well, that and
Roderick's
like,
death monologue.
How do you know this? You weren't even there. He's like, I was told.
Right. I wish we could have seen one of those, like one of his like sit downs with his kids where they like explain the story to him. That would have been cool to see.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess they kind of alluded to that at that last when he drove himself in like slippers and a robe or whatever, and he was at the conference table with all of his dead kids, and that might have happened then before death showed up. Or
that's
Verna,
a Dark Tower reference.
Or Verna or whatever we're calling her. It may not be Death, but her name's Verna.
Yeah, that's the Dark Tower reference. The him going there and being in the top of the tower and seeing like all the bodies.
That was
the
beautiful,
legacy
by the way. Beautiful.
That's that's the Dark Tower reference right there. That is not in the original short story. That is the Dark Tower reference because the ending of the Dark Tower is he gets there and every member of his group has died, and he's willingly sacrificed them just to get a little further. And by the time he gets there, he walks into the tower and he sees like murals of all of his adventures. So like the tower is like sentient and knows what he did. And it's basically like judging him. It's like, you let everybody die just to get here? There's nothing here. And then he ascends to the top of the tower and he gets pulled in through a doorway, and it flashes him back to the beginning of the first novel, and he has to try again.
Wow.
You did all that for nothing, dude. Yep.
I love that that's ultimately the message of this show too, to Roderick, is like, you did all that and you like the best thing you have to show for it is your granddaughter, and your dumbass didn't even know you're going to lose her too.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Her death is also probably incredibly tragic too, because she didn't do anything.
She was the sweetest one.
Like,
yeah.
Even death doesn't want to take her. I love that. I love that as a characterization of death in general. The idea of like death as a gentle kind of transitional being. I love that idea that like she doesn't get a scary version of Verna, right? She gets like a very soft, nice version, and I love that like who you get out of Verna is reflective of your character.
Yeah,
like she
was
super
you get is when
comforting and like motherly with it too, and she was like almost crying, and I'm like, I wouldn't want to take that baby either, because there is times like in life where you see that, like you see children dying of cancer, you see, you know, the like the things you wouldn't want to, these animals go through torture. It's more than just people, that, you know, it's not, death is not a fun job.
Yeah.
Once in a while, you get to take revenge on the fuckers who deserve it, but 9 times out of 10, it's no.
Yeah, she relishes taking out all the other kids. Oh yeah, and they all kind of deserve it, and they all kind of got what they deserved. It's like, you know, I mean, and just how just depraved every member of that family is. It's like, it's just so fucking creepy. It's like, was it Prospero wants to hook up with his aunt-in-law? It's just fucking asshole. You know, just Rahul Kohli is just like this as a goddamn cokehead, and he's a spoiled brat. He's kind of playing a version of himself. He's introduced on the couch playing, what is it, Last of Us Part 2 while getting a blowjob. It's like, yeah, it's just him.
I love that, like, even because I would consider him one of the better of the kids in the lineup, but even still, like, the interactions that he has with the people that he cares about, like, he's so, like, the best of his kids are extremely selfish to the point of, like, lunacy, and then the worst of his kids are, like, borderline serial killer sociopaths, and it's like, wow, yeah, because that's what a greedy life lineup will give you, man, you know? Like,
the one I thought... No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Flanagan's wife, Kate, when she's playing Camille, talk about selfish, when she's like, I've had a day, I'm just going to starfish until I have 2 orgasms, and she's just like...
Oh, yeah, and the 2 assistants. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Oh God.
I love that, like, that example also of, like, yeah, the Me Too movement wasn't just for women. Like, anybody can really get taken advantage of by their boss in this business.
Yeah.
This is like a very borderline political piece out of Flanagan too, right? Like, he's talking about big swinging dick stuff and real world stuff.
Oh
yeah. The drug industry,
big pharma,
how it affects people.
Freaking...
Yeah.
Billionaires and their effect on the world. Like, I feel like the whole back half of the show is like, yeah, this is what happens when people get their wish granted. They turn into absolute sociopaths, and it was there before they even got the wish, right? They were willing to bury a man alive before they talked to the devil.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Dude, I was gonna say that. Because obviously in the first, like, episode or 2, when you see that gesture, you're like, what is this? And when I first watched it, I was like, oh, is it just like a self-reflection? He's been the fool the whole time. And then when that finally comes to fruition, I was like, whoo. So going back and rewatching those, like, really hit different for sure. Like, seeing those,
I bet this is really nice on the rewatch.
Yeah. There's so many little details that you don't even realize are details until you do rewatch it. Flanagan is a master of stacking the little nuances.
I think people probably get sick of hearing me say on these episodes when we talk about series that they should have been a movie. Mike Flanagan is an example of no. Please give me the miniseries. Don't give me a movie, Mr. Flanagan. I want 8-hour-long episodes. I want all of this shit.
Yeah, because we're happy to watch him do it properly.
Exactly. Oh my god, the fucking lighting. He's always been good at using it, but he got masterful.
Dude, he went full giallo at certain times, dude. Like every character gets a different color for how they're gonna die.
I love it.
Yeah.
Even the way they use shadow. I think about the kiss between Verna and what was her name? Why am I blanking right now? The
kiss?
Madeline. Madeline and Verna when they kiss at the bar to establish their cover, and it's all shadow on Verna. She's basically a shadowy silhouette getting kissed there, and the light is still like on Madeline's face, so it's just the lighting of the scene shifts in real time along with the acting. That's wild. Like that's really. I mean, Jesse, I'm sure you know like the technical shit that has to be happening behind the camera to accomplish that, like to work along with your actor as a lighting crew, not just lighting the scene, but lighting along with the acting.
It's immensely annoying. It's annoying because it's like, yes, step forward. Don't go past this point. It's like, well, you're just referencing a point in space, so you have to do it over and over and over it again. It's like it's a huge pain in the ass.
Heard,
you're
Chef,
5
I won't
millimeters
make you do that.
past the ding. Do it again.
Yeah. Going
Focus
back to
puller missed on that one. Sorry, guys.
Going back to the Cask of Amontillado reference with the jester. You read that story, Seth?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's the name of the main character from that story?
Oh man, it's been a hot minute since I read it.
Montresor.
That's right. That's right.
Montresor and Fortunato. Fortunato is the name of the clown that gets buried.
That's right. That is not a reference to what we named the company for anyone listening. Although it is a happy accident. I don't deny that. Let me turn the question back to you guys. What are your like standout moments across the series? Like what really grabbed you? What was shocking?
Oh, you go first, Hope.
Obviously, I think we can all agree, like, the whole acid bath scene was glorious.
Oh, God.
But I want to say what really got me out of my seat, like, when watching this was, I would have to say the entirety of the whole murder suicide basically of what's her name?
The heart.
Yeah, the heart surgeon.
Oh yeah.
And
what a great performance through that too. She really sold the manic, convinced of an alternate reality. Oh my God, that was so good. You're right.
Because not only did it was building up too. So it's not just that scene, that ending scene. It was the whole build up where she keeps hearing that, the noise of the actual machine working. And then the entire episode, again, you hear the machine and then you see her alternate thinking that her ex is still alive.
Yeah.
And has left. Come to find out, she just put that in her own head.
Yep.
to like relax her own guilt of killing her fucking partner. And then
she's like the solid one leading up to that point too. Like she's like the voice of reason of the kids up till then.
But I think the whole dynamic as well between her going into mania and seeing her partner chest open on the table, just the perfect visual of the machine working.
Yeah.
Blood everywhere, her going into the mania, and then Roderick just not knowing what to do. He's like, I want to cry. This is insane, but I have to keep calm to not trigger her. You know, like there's so many levels to that final scene of that episode, and just all the buildup. I think that's what really got me the most, was because like, it was the most leveled, I think, because everyone was kind of like straightforward, kind of like you knew what was happening, but with her it was like,
yeah. Well, Henry Thomas's fate, I didn't see that coming. That was I told you Pit and the Pendulum would be a good one to fit in there. I was like, wow, that was creative.
I was reminded of Saw 4.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I loved that the more it's the most contrived death because he contrived his way into it.
Yeah.
I love that Verna like explains to him, honestly, it wouldn't have gone down like this if you hadn't been such a little bitch. Like, I love that.
Yes.
I will say that the thing that shocked me the most was when he ripped out his wife's teeth. That was like, oh fuck, God. Dude. Why?
Yeah.
The fact that he was already torturing her and then went that far, like, the woman is like
barely alive.
100% burns all over her body. Like, it's a mirror. The only reason why she wasn't dead is because Verna said, I'm not going to take you.
Yeah.
The only reason, because she tried to warn her, but she's like, fucking dumbass didn't fucking go for it, so now I gotta keep her alive like this, you know? Because she tried to warn her.
Also,
she's also not really blood related, so she kind of gets to get out. But
still, like, she's in that, like, weave.
In part of the family, kind of.
Yeah, but still, she tried to warn her, and she's like, now I gotta kill. I mean, none of the other 70, 80 people were part of the family, but she didn't have a problem killing them off, too.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, but those were all the people that were willing to trust, what was his name?
Prospero.
Yeah.
That little shit. Jesus.
That little shit. I love that. I love how much
you
hate him.
Can I just
what a
say,
splendid
though,
bastard.
It's to his acting. We go from his character in Midnight Mass, this meek, dying little virgin, to here in Fall the House of Usher, and he's like a druggy, horny sex fiend. So like he went from one extreme to the other.
Yeah. I mean, all these cast members are from previous Flanagan projects, with the exception of Mary McDonnell and Mark Hamill. Everybody else has been in other material. Like, even our lead was in Gerald's Game.
Oh yeah.
So,
little Easter egg. Easter egg.
Wait. By the way, does that mean that Mike Flanagan exists within his own universe?
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay.
Why 100%. Not?
Sure. Why not?
Make his own rules. Screw it.
Speaking of that actor, dude, Bruce Greenwood carried in this show. For as good as all of the other actors were, he got, I feel like, to do everything.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if it's because he found out he was going to be playing the same character that Zach Gilford was playing, and saw Midnight Mass and how good Zach was in that, and went, oh shit, I better show up to play. I better show up to really own this thing. And he crushed it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, also
yeah.
he was a last minute addition because what happened was
Really
it was Frank Langella, and there was accusations of sexual assault on the set by him. So he was fired right away. And he was like, Bruce, I need you. Get in here. So yeah. That's why. So Bruce Greenwood was brought in as a last-minute replacement, and it was for the better. I can't see Frank Langella doing this. And honestly, I would be okay with Frank Langella just finally dying now, please. You're a great as Skeletor. Thank you. Now go away.
Skeletor.
God. Why do all of our heroes disappoint us? Yeah, exactly. Going back to the Castle Amontillado, I wanted to reference the Michael Trucco's character from Midnight Mass and Hush and all that stuff. The character he's playing, Rufus Griswold.
Yeah,
that's the name that was that's the name of the person that criticized Poe at his eulogy. Publicly criticized him at his eulogy. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of like revenge for Poe the whole time.
Oh,
so, yeah, that makes me very happy. Yeah.
I'll say he's an honorary Baltimore boy at this point.
Yeah. I mean, granted, if you really dig into it, like, Poe was not a great person. Not a great person. He was a great writer.
Yeah.
Terrible human being.
So are 90% of the other people from that time period.
He married his 13-year-old cousin.
So did everyone else in rural whatever to keep the bloodline pure.
Yeah, back then marriage was a business convenience.
Yeah,
I was about to say, just like children back then, they weren't to like love. It was literally farmers like, oh, I need free labor.
Or if you're religious, the whole quiverful movement, you're just not supposed to use condoms and just keep popping them out.
Oh,
no, but seriously, like, especially for farmers and everything, the reason why you see so many families like from rural areas like that, it's literally free labor. Because you have like the oldest daughter taking care of the kids, and then all the boys, they would till the fields and work the farms, and then they live off what they get, and they can grow bigger crops to feed everybody and whatnot. It's all a business. It was all a fucking business.
Isn't that called slavery?
Not if you're blood related.
By any other name, it is slavery. Oh, God.
Isn't that slavery with extra steps?
Basically.
Yeah. And 9 months in between.
Genetic slavery.
Genetic slavery.
Yeah.
So, anyways, back to the Folly House of Usher.
Yeah, back to this.
So, I know we have favorite scenes, but, like, is there a favorite kill? Because I loved when, I mean, I don't want to put, like, words in people's mouths, but I do think we all loved Henry Thomas's character just getting fucking pendulumed at the end.
Wrecked. Yes. Mm-hmm. That felt good.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Honestly, probably Kate Siegel's death. Camille.
Yes.
What a cunt. God damn.
Mauled by that chimp.
Yeah. Yeah, and she gets killed by a monkey in the Rue Morgue. I get it. Yeah, and also I love the fact that she, right before she knows she's about to die, she just kind of goes, "Fuck you, I got mine." It's like, it doesn't even give a shit. It's like, yeah, I did what I wanted to do. Fuck all of you. Go ahead and kill me.
She was the most like her dad, I think, of the kids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, fully self-absorbed. Didn't give a shit about anybody but herself.
That was proven, not even with her assistants, but when Prospero died, and she's like, "Oh, we have to do this. Oh, we're so sad. Why do you think we have a fucking charity so we can pull this stunt when people die?" Like, she had it all down.
Oh, yeah.
What an awful human being. Jesus. I wouldn't be surprised if these like brothers and sisters were like fucking in the background. I wouldn't be shocked, because there's that little bit where, like, was it Rahul Kohli's character and Camille? They're kind of like hanging out.
Well, his name is Napoleon, but they call him Leo.
Yeah, they call him Leo. Yeah, when they're hanging out, it's like something. There's some weird dynamic here. Something.
I mean,
maybe,
but
I mean, like, listen, I love the implication that Flanagan just really fucking hates the ultra rich and calls there's a line in this where they call out the fact that they could just take the time to fix so many things with money,
and they don't,
and and they don't, and pointing that out directly to, like, it's holding a dog's nose into its own shit, you know?
Yeah.
I love that.
Look what you did.
So he's going after everything that we've learned about these kind of people over the last 5 or 6 years. You know, like, he obviously, Epstein is on the mind as he's writing some of these monologues, going, yeah, how the fuck does this happen? Like, why are these people so many of them so vile and disgusting? And I think he started to open the onion and saw, wow, you have to be a sociopath to live in this world. And maybe I would like to see these people get comeuppance. And that's the premise. It's like, what if Succession had Freddy Krueger in it, you know? It's awesome.
I even pointed that out. I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is just a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Because it's like, oh, it's death hunting them and it's every kill. It's like Carla Gugino is playing Freddy Krueger. It's like, every episode is based around one character. It's kind of like the Haunting of Hill House structure, where every episode was based on a character.
Yeah.
With little interludes here and there. But for the most part, it's following one character for each episode.
I want to touch on those interludes. Yeah, I want to touch on that because I think he's found a really slick formula here where we're seeing setups across the episodes until you get to the episode. I think specifically about when she's moved into her hospital room and from her hospital room into the house, and like we're seeing that from like this is payoff from the acid orgy and like, you know, set up for his character and set up for the daughter and why she's so good, and we're just getting these like little bits across the episodes until we get to their episode, and then we get to dive full, or even the black cat. We see a lot of the setup in a previous episode before we actually get into the event itself, and so I love that.
Even with Madeline, she's like, "Oh, my immortality collection," and she's like, they use this pick in ancient Egypt to get through the brain, and she talked about the stones for the eyes. And
right.
She had.
I wonder what her fate's gonna be.
And she had her whole wall of like ancient Egyptian immortality, pharaoh shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And all of that gets foreshadowed with, as you were pointing out, Hope, with the daughter that kills her fiance. Roderick does exactly the same thing to his sister and even reacts in the same way. He has the same kind of like psychosis that we see Augie kind of pull him out of. And I love that the show's just like, here's something awesome that you're going to watch on screen, but it's also foreshadowing for something later on. And he's really got a role, I think, across this where like the building that we're talking about at the first episode for the acid orgy is the building that is getting torn down in the second to last to kill Frederick. Like how, like, it's so tight. That is so well crafted and written to run that the whole way across.
Even to bounce off that too, even the tiny little scene of Lenore doing that questionnaire for that tech that like doesn't go anywhere, and you're like, oh, what's this gonna be, you know, for Madeline's new project. And at the very end you see her like text bubbles like nevermore, 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 because it's like it all paid off.
Damn. That's just that's really like the only reason that I wanted to watch more than 2 episodes at a time was like, damn, is he going to keep paying shit like this off? And boy, howdy does he.
Yeah. And also that moment when he sees the AI generating Nevermore, I was like, that's when it kind of clicked for me. I was like, oh, Roderick isn't basically just a character within the story. It's Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
But basically, Flanagan wrote him as Edgar Allan Poe. He drinks a lot. His wife is like, what, 40 years younger than him?
It's
like, and he's very, Death even says, had Roderick chosen a different path in life, he would have been a poet. Yeah, a broke one, but he would have been a poet. It's like, yeah, it's just Edgar Allan Poe.
Yep. his alt life. If
mm-hmm.
So looping back to the beginning of our episode, when we were saying it might have been a comedy. Speaking of his 40+ year younger wife and a comedy, that first interaction between Juno and Lenore, where she's like, "How did you meet my grandpa?" And she's like, "Oh, I love video games. Let's play." And then she's like, "Well, I was on this, and then I was like, I'm so happy, I'm gonna blow you." And then she's like, "I fucked up."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, Juno is such a tragic character across this.
Yeah,
I'm glad it works out for her in the end.
Yeah. Oh my god, that poor thing. When she's crying, saying I just wanted to have a family. I just wanted to take care of and be taken care of. She's like, I never had a family, and she went through everything. And just the fact that she also got pelted with the mic stand.
Oh yeah,
but she was being so supportive to Tamerlane across the episode, and I was like, "Oh no, I know that she's gonna take the brunt of something." I was not expecting her to get pelted with a fucking microphone stand
because she was so supportive, and she was opening up to her, and I was like, "Oh honey, baby, sweetie, oh honey, baby, sweetie," and then boom.
But she wouldn't feel it because she's on so much drugs.
Lickadone.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, there's definitely some jet black comedy in here, for sure.
Yeah. That actress, Samantha Sloyan, she was also Bev in Midnight Mass. And once again, Bev's a twat. She's such a fucking cunt this whole goddamn show. Treats her husband like dog shit. The weird thing where she likes to have prostitutes fake relationships, and then she gets off on it. It's like, the fuck is what is this,
dude? Ugh. Yeah, she's the most sociopath. I think
she's the most sociopathic of the bunch. Yeah, I love how she just kind of loses time because she's not sleeping. She just loses track of time. Jesus Christ.
And I will say I'll never have mirrors in my bedroom because of that now.
Oh, I got flashbacks to what was it? Which Chucky movie was it where he kills everybody with the champagne bottle, throws it at the mirror? Which one was that?
Oh, I forget.
Was that Bride of Chucky?
Maybe.
Might have been.
I think it was Bride of Chucky.
It's been a minute since I've watched through those, to be honest.
Yeah, I've been watching the series, so.
Doesn't he get into the White House or something like that?
I'm not all up to date with it, but
something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, but that whole just this whole family is so fucked up. They're just so fucked up.
I can imagine the whole Trump family is like this. Just all of them. They're drugged out of their minds, fucking each other. It's this is what the Trump family is.
You can see there's a lot of influences into this family, just rich families over the year. There's Kardashian shit in here in the way that they communicate with each other. I mentioned Succession earlier. That's, I think, based off of the is it the Rudolphs?
The
Madoffs.
Madoffs, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even Verna, when Pim was showing all the photos that he found of her throughout the years, it's very powerful, very rich, influential people. He's she was with this person and that person and they're just holy shit, that's us just at a different time,
Yeah. Well, and very controversial figures being shown with her next to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been up to this for a hot minute,
Yeah. Can we talk about how great Carla Gugino is? How fantastic she is in this?
I love her. I've always loved her. Fucking love her.
That woman ages she ages like fine wine.
Oh
yeah. I was thinking back to the very first Spy Kids movie, and she was young in that one, and like she's been a staple in my life since I was a kid.
I was going to say, talk about a 180 Spy Kids to fall.
Right. She, but I mean, like, and look at the similarity even in the choices of filmmakers she works with. Like Robert Rodriguez and Mike Flanagan have a lot in common in how much they do themselves. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Writer, director, editor. They really aren't afraid to get into all of the filmmaking process. So I get the feeling she really likes working with these kinds of people that, like, you don't see her show up in a lot of like work for hire stuff, right? Like it seems like she
doesn't need to.
Yeah, she doesn't need to. And
she picks what she wants for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. And because of that, then she gets a turn like this, where across 8 episodes she is front and center. Just like what a great feather in her cap. I think this is such a cool thing for her.
Mm-hmm.
And going from like, when one of the first things I've seen of her, like with Flanagan at least, was Gerald's Game, and just like seeing where she like sloughs off her hand from the handcuff, like
the degloving scene.
Yeah, the woman's got acting chops. Like no one can take that from her.
Yeah.
And the fact that she basically played Verna through the series, but she had to invoke different types of Verna throughout.
Oh yeah.
So it was like a different character almost every episode, because it was so beautiful. I love her. I love her.
Mm. Yeah, her as a timid Southern patient, and then actually she's like a quirky, vet tech, and really got range out of this role.
Every actor got their chance to shine in the show. They got their big show off moments.
Yes.
like Rahul Kohli just destroying his apartment with Thor's hammer.
Okay, Chris. Okay,
there's the comedy. There's the comedy. That's the comedy.
Yeah. Exactly.
That was great.
Oh god, yeah. Speaking of which, they never explain what the hell happened to the first cat.
Oh, he killed it.
Maybe they were all just... Well, it's never said who killed it, or even if he did. It's just kind of like...
He had blood on his literal hands when he went to pick up the
OJ. That's right.
And there was literal blood on his hands. So he already didn't like the fact... I think it was... One, he was so drugged out of his gourd. But two, the fact that Camille kept, like, poking at him, being like, oh, you should marry him. You love him. Bring him to the family. Mm-hmm. I think that was, like, his maybe, like, subconscious way of destroying that by killing the cat.
Interesting. That's a cool read.
That's what I think, because, like, he's already
he's self-sabotaged by killing the cat.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of saves the cat, like, straight up, in a screenwriting sense.
It's true.
Lexi had a cool read on that whole thing. She thinks that the cat was Verna and just another one of her, like, forms. And so he never actually killed anything. It was just, like, how she attacked him to drive him insane enough to jump out the window.
Oh, well...
Are you talking about, like, the one he gets from the shelter?
The one he gets from the shelter, the one that he kills, the one from before, it's all the same cat. Was Lexi's read that, like, it's his psychosis through Verna that's making him think he killed a cat.
But it was his partner's cat, though.
Right, his partner's cat, but, like, it was recently adopted by the two of them. And
no,
okay, now I see.
No, I think he had that cat for a while, like, before they were in a relationship, though.
No, because wasn't that how we knew who to go to get another cat, and how he ended up back with Verna? Like, the read was just it was all Verna.
Said, I've been in the monologue when he was, like, talking to her. He's like, I've been to, like, 20 other places, couldn't find a cat. Can you help me?
Interesting. Yeah,
I literally just rewatched that episode, so, like, I know.
When you're dealing with psychosis, though, it's hard to, like, I'm not sure if the point is whether it's real or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The point is, like, she was the new one for sure, but I don't think she was the original Pluto. Because that would have meant she would have had to have been with his partner for all those years, and then she set him up with the partner.
I have no issue with that. She's been around since the 80s, right?
Well, no, but I'm saying
every aspect of their life.
She would waste her time with an innocent person instead of stalking her prey, though. I don't know.
Maybe she knew the trajectory of all their lives.
Yeah, see, like she presents as omniscient within the story. She can be anywhere. She can be not there if she doesn't want to be. Like
multiple places at multiple times.
Yeah, she can be killed and then come back to life. So like I read her as like omniscient, kind of Shakespeare god, like Deus Ex kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And so like I take no issue with everything that's happened to the family being like in some way influenced by her. She's got like Jin qualities to her as well, where like there's almost monkey paw kind of aspects to when you do something bad will be done back to you. And that's why you don't see any of the people doing anything good, because I think if they did do good, part of her deal would be to have to return that to them. And like, I think honestly, deeper meaning to this is they, Camille and Roderick, or not Camille, Madeline and Roderick would have got out of the deal if they would have been good across their life. That was the point, was like, hey, you just murdered somebody, and are you going to lean into that if you have all the rules, or are you going to lean away from that? And they chose not to lean away from it, So like, I think if they had done good things would have come back to them.
Yeah.
It's karma.
Oh, for sure. I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Rob. I say that, but also like,
also still fuck him, because he even says in the very end, like, yeah, I knew this was all. I knew I was gonna build my empire on a pile of bodies. Like, yeah, fuck you.
I love that Bruce does that character so well that I'm still endeared to like him, even though he really represents everything that I hate personally as a person, and I'm still just.
Do you like the character, or do you like Bruce Greenwood?
No, I like Bruce Greenwood. I'm just enamored by his execution of the role.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like that's really what
he did such a good job that.
Yeah.
He made the human moments so human that it made my heart feel like maybe there is a human core to Elon Musk. You know what I mean? Like that was literally would be like he's adding so much humanity to these sociopath characters that I'm like,
I doubt it on Elon Musk. I highly doubt it.
Listen, I'm right there with you. But Bruce made me believe for a second.
Well, it was only, I think, with the granddaughter though. It was only whenever she was around, or or in the beginning when his wife, Annabelle, was around. So it was only when he had like polar opposite true good.
True.
That it reflected, because even Augie at the end, he's like, I was blind. He was like, I can read people like a book, but your ex-wife was so pure, was so good. She blinded me from you.
Yeah, and that's good on not only the actress that played the wife. I'd have to look for her name real quick.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank, but
she did such a good job of presenting like genuinely pure. I think especially with that scene with young Madeline where she's like, "Oh, this is for real. Like you actually wanted Roderick to be a good guy," and she's like realizing that that's not the life that she's in. That adds a lot. But then Zach Gilford played it so genuine to Augie. Like I believed him. I was like, damn, I wonder when he's gonna turn on Augie and become the evil Roderick that we know. And I was not expecting it to happen in the middle of the interrogation. Yes. And I was like, oh no.
What a dick.
What a dick.
God.
But
I do love the fact that they've included Dupin from Murder of the Rue Morgue as the kind of like audience surrogate character investigating, and like he's having information fed to him, therefore it's coming to us.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's like our Poirot of sorts.
Yeah. It's kind of a detective thing, I guess. I don't know. Isn't that like technically the first detective story? The Murder of the Rue Morgue. Isn't that technically the first detective and eventually inspired Sherlock Holmes?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure about that.
Let me double check.
That seems a little.
I mean, Arthur Conan Doyle was writing in what, the early 1900s?
No, earlier.
Murders in the Rue Morgue, published in 1841.
Yeah, that's definitely pre-Sherlock Holmes.
First fictional detective, displays many traits for literary conventions and subsequent fictional detectives, including Sherlock Holmes and Hercule Poirot.
I was about to say, because I know Sherlock was created in the 1800s, but it wasn't till the late 1800s. So
yeah, first appearance, A Study in Scarlet, 1887. So yeah, that is the first detective, Charles Dupin.
Damn, our pre-Batman, huh?
Yeah, our first Batman.
Yeah, I'm always enamored by anything Mike Flanagan does, but I also love to see him do a different turn. You know, like he's really he showed us that he not only does he get ghosts, but he gets, you know, kind of monster stories and the like the kind of simple life storytelling of Midnight Mass, and then from the looks of it, to me, he can also write the fuck out of like really densely packed, you know, kind of corporate espionage, gothic horror. Like, this is a genre blend, I think, it's in comparison to his previous stuff, and it's almost impressive that he almost works better the more options he has.
Yeah, he knows how to kind of maneuver everything into one place.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he does research though too. He actually puts the time and effort into everything. He's been in his personal life through the ringer too. Like, when you've had so much experience, it's easier to pick up on other experience.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's a recovering alcoholic and addict. His wife, Kate, is also a recovering alcoholic. So it's like they kind of support each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Which is great. You just see Roger just getting slowly more and more drunk as his interrogation's going on. It's just like, is he just drunk or is this for real? Like, also, it's implied that in the first few episodes, like, oh, these are all hallucinations from his disorder. It's like, no, they're ghosts. By the end, it's like, no, they're ghosts.
Yeah.
It's literally just ghosts. They didn't do the thing that you hate, Seth. There was no ghost time travel. There was none of that in this episode.
I was very thankful for it. I'm going to be honest. When they started talking about Pym's backstory, I wasn't sure where the back half of the show was going to go. And so I was like, damn, if this gets into some like time travel fuckery or something, I'm going to be less interested.
No,
yeah, Dark Tower gets into time travel, unfortunately.
The fact, though, that they kept Pym a secret still, I love, because they could have he could have revealed that. I love that he was still just like an enigma. He was just still in the shadows, and that was in part just and again, the fact that Mark Hamill played him, he was just, the few lines he would even get, like even with like when it was like Prospero and Frederick, they were talking, he's like, no, not here. Shut up. Like, his line delivery was great.
He's just so kind of annoyed by the whole family. It's like, yes, I'm here because I need to be, but God, what is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
Right.
Just constant irritation from everybody. It's like, why can't you just do what I say?
Although, I love the way he abused cops. Every crime scene was fucking like...
Just about to get to that. He's like, fuck you, I'm going. Literally, every scene was just like, oh, sir, you can't go. Yeah, I can. Fuck you. And I was like,
yeah.
Yes.
It's like, what are you going to do? You're gonna call the cops? Right. Against one of the richest families in America? Really?
Right. Like,
money is power.
People are talking to him about laws and shit, and he's like, we routinely kill people. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but do you think you have any kind of authority here?
Oh, so good. So good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think Lenore and Juno and Bill end up being like the most tragic characters across this. Did we find out what happened to Bill later at the end? I know we saw that Juno kind of takes over the company, and then Death tells Lenore that like all the things that will be affected because of it. So we kind of get a peek at the end. But I guess we don't find out what happens to Bill, do we?
I don't think so. No. Oh, Annabelle Lee is probably the most tragic of the bunch.
Yeah.
I agree,
because she blew her brains out.
I would hope that like Juno took care of Bill, type of deal. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably like, I know we're not family, but we're what's left.
Yeah. There's no reference to what happens to Bill. He just kind of disappears from the story.
Well, she kind of wrote him out though in that episode, anyways.
Yeah.
She was like,
"Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're getting divorced." She basically said, "We're getting divorced." She was going over the prenup and everything. We're just like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
Her exposing that she never loved him. Ugh, what a harsh scene.
That was a twat.
Oh yeah, and then her that's right, her narcolepsy ruined her chances of like actually apologizing to him.
Yeah. Yep. In the middle of an apology and just kind of like zones out for a sec. God.
Damn.
But yeah, like we said at the beginning of the episode, it's a really solid show. It doesn't quite reach the emotional catharsis of Midnight Mass. It's because all these characters are awful. You're kind of just watching for the catharsis of
exactly. Honestly,
but it's not. Yeah.
If it wasn't for the fact they were so awful, I think it would be up there. But at the same time, you're like, fuck them.
This would be incredibly hard to watch if these were characters we liked and believed in.
Yes. If it would be worse than like compiling all of Game of Thrones, like, you know.
Minus the last season.
We're not talking about that. That doesn't count.
Yeah. It's amazing they never finished that show. That's so weird. They just stopped. Wow, it's so weird. God damn.
Peter Dinklage is so good.
Yeah. But yeah, I think his next thing is Life of Chuck, and then he's doing Dark Tower. Sorry, Seth, that gets into time travel in Dark Tower. Sorry to disappoint you.
Okay, I'm fine with time travel in general. I'm not a big fan of the ghost time travel. It sounds like the time travel for Dark Tower is like ironic comeuppance for his choices, and so
yes,
yeah. So that I can dig. I'm in the middle of writing a time travel movie with Jesse Ferguson right now. Like I'm not anti time travel. I don't like the ghosts.
Yeah. Well, then Stephen King also becomes a character within the story. He writes himself into his own book.
Yeah. Which again, like writing Poe into this, I think that was a great move.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Like I don't know. I look back at the Dark Tower movie, and that just felt like it had all.
What Dark Tower movie?
You mean Harry Potter with gunslingers? Okay,
right. What are you talking about? It doesn't exist.
I don't think there was actually any belief in the project.
There wasn't. They changed directors like every other week.
Right, yeah. It ended up going to like a Danish guy that's like done a bunch of like, straight to DVD stuff. And so I like with Mike Flanagan behind it, I'm like, oh yeah, I believe in his ability to execute on this kind of stuff. We've never seen him do action before.
Well, it's not really an action series.
No.
It's really not.
Yeah.
For all the cowboyishness of the series, maybe
it's like an accent piece to the story, kind of.
It's Lord of the Rings. It's Lord of the Rings. It's a lot of walking.
Yeah.
And then there's a fight. And a lot of walking, and there's a fight. Yeah. And also, by the way, at the beginning of the second book, he hits a handicap. 2 of his fingers get cut off, so he can only use one gun, his non-dominant hand.
Yeah.
A giant lobster chops off 2 fingers.
Damn.
Literally, giant lobsters just come out of the ocean and they start biting him, and they just chop off 2 of his fingers. That's it. Can't use one of your guns. Sorry.
That's some Mysterious Island shit.
It's a weird series. It was written. I think he started writing it when he was 19 years old.
Wow.
So it's like it feels like a weird like fantasy story written by a teenager, but it slowly becomes more and more adult as it goes along.
Interesting.
Okay.
That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. He only finished it back in 2004. He was writing that thing for years.
Yeah.
So I think we can all agree, Mike Flanagan, genius.
Yes.
He's great when he adapts writers as well, such as Stephen King and Edgar Allan Poe, and he's great at what he does. I think this is an amazing series. Everyone should check it out. All of his series, honestly. I can't. I mean, I can like. Even his like weakest series is still great. You know.
Yeah, Blind Manor. Yeah.
Oh
well, no, not Blind Manor. Midnight Club.
Midnight Club is his weakest, I think. But I
still haven't checked that one out. That kind of like dropped, and I wasn't aware. I wasn't really on Netflix at the time.
There wasn't really a lot of push for it. I think mainly because Netflix knew it wasn't going to get a season 2. Which sucks because it ends on this huge cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, never going to solve that.
I mean, it was still great. Don't get me wrong, but like when you compare it, like if it was like a one-off from a random person, you'd be like, "Oh, that was fantastic." But like, knowing it's Flanagan, and you're like, "I know what you can do, bro." Like,
yeah. It's him playing with the tropes of horror stories, like campfire horror stories. Like the first episode is a criticism of jump scares.
That's fun.
How many is it like 21 jump scares straight in a row just to fuck with the audience because he's like, stop doing this.
Yeah.
Stop it.
And then it's
just
Five
Nights at Freddy's. Stop doing that.
And then it's like, oh, hook for a hand. Oh, stop telling that stupid story. Oh, we're doing that. Like, and it slowly becomes like, this is how you should tell a story. So
yeah.
Interesting. Okay, maybe I will check it out then.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a great show. Like I said, if it were made by anybody else, everyone would be probably raving about it. But like for me and Jesse, we're like, we know what you can do, Mike. Like that was I feel like that was like his fun project. And we're
well, he wasn't directing most of the episodes.
Yeah.
He directed the first episode, I think, and it was mostly other directors who came in behind him.
But still, I feel like this was like his fun, relaxed project, and then like all the other ones were like, boom, go. So
and a lot of those actors are the younger actors from shows like Hill House and Blind Manor and Midnight Mass.
Like the younger kids.
Yeah, and they also, a lot of them show up. Like the woman that plays Juno, she is the one in the wheelchair in Midnight Club.
Yeah,
Midnight Club.
She's the one that plays the complete bitch.
Prospero, he was also in it. The two assistants, they were both in it. So
yeah, it's a good show. It's probably his weakest, but even the weakest is like still pretty good.
Yeah,
exactly.
Hey,
pretty good.
He's never not entertaining. You know what I mean? Like,
well, Hush is the one where it's like,
I like a lot of Hush. Yeah,
I liked Hush, but I also know sign language.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Hush is that it's just like, this would be a really good 20-minute short film. It doesn't work as a feature, I don't think.
I like it as a feature only because every scene takes its time to invent something around like the obstacle of deafness instead of it just being like that being like a thing to get you in and then it just turns into something standard. Like it stays centered around like solving problems without hearing. And so for that, I think it's like entertaining scene to scene. It's probably his most like airplane movie of his movies where like you could watch it on an airplane and kind of like, you know, be looking around the cabin and talking to people and not really miss a lot. But
I would say that what's the other one? Before I Wake, that's the airplane movie. The one where the kid has his dreams project into reality.
That's right. Is
that's
that
the
Jacob
airplane
Tremblay
movie.
in that? Am I?
Yes.
Yeah.
He plays the kid.
Am I remembering that correctly?
I think so. Yeah.
Either way.
Anyways.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And Thomas Jane. That's right.
I think all of us highly recommend Fall the House of Usher.
Yes.
To
whatever's
two thumbs
way
up,
you could say.
To whatever's way up.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I know we're all looking forward to his next stuff. And gosh, I want to kiss that man's brain. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Well, he'd probably let you do that. He has the weirdest shit in his house.
And I love.
You watch his TikTok videos?
Dude, do you not know
his TikTok
my
is
house?
like the funniest shit.
Do you not know my house?
Yeah. He has the was it a sculpted head of John Malkovich?
That's awesome.
I can't remember what movie it was from, but yeah, he has a sculpted head of John Malkovich in his house. Yeah, it's just all this. Yeah, it's all this weird shit.
I always say this. My favorite game to play in my house is what's from a dead person and what's not.
That's funny. I have a few estate sale things in my house too, for that matter.
Oh, that's not estate sale, but sure.
Right.
Jesus.
Yeah, high recommend for us. I think that's all of our thoughts. I think this was we didn't know we were going to do this episode. It wasn't on the schedule, but we're happy to be here because Mike Flanagan can interrupt our schedule anytime.
Well,
Mike
also,
Flanagan.
it's still spooky season.
Very true.
Yeah. It's spooky season. We had to watch something that was creepy and weird. It's not really a horror show. Not really. It's more just kind of like, well, maybe like a few moments but it's not it's horrific really a horror show.
Life.
That's the scarier part.
That's the horror part. It's real life.
I would classify Succession as being more of a horror story than anything else.
Oh my God.
Ugh. Jesus.
Bring Mike Flanagan to HBO.
Well, Dark Tower was supposed to be on HBO, and then they said nope. So now he has the rights himself. He owns the rights himself.
Wow, that's so cool.
He was well because when the film failed, the rights reverted back to King, and then Flanagan was like, "Hey, can I do this myself?" And he was like, "Yeah, give me $1."
Really?
He sells his rights for $1. He doesn't want any money. He has enough.
I love that.
Yeah, so he just signed it. He just like, yeah, here, give me $1, and he just sold his rights. That's it. So Flanagan has the rights to a whole series.
Damn, I hope Stephen King directs an episode. He directs, right?
Yeah, Maximum Overdrive. You ever seen it? He almost killed people on that. He says he doesn't remember making Maximum Overdrive because of the all that.
Anywho,
lay off the blow, dude.
So we're looking forward to his future projects. We love his current projects. Check out all Mike Flanagan stuff. I think that's gonna wrap it up for today, guys, because I don't want to give too much away for those who still need to see it or need to rewatch it even.
Right. I think we've said enough of the code words so far to get people interested.
Yeah. It's a breezy watch too. It's not a slog. It's breezy.
All right.
And in the meantime, if you're listening to the podcast, check us out on YouTube. Just look up Jaguar Sharks and you can see video versions of this. If you're watching the video, we're waving at you. Sorry, podcasters, you can't see this.
Go to the YouTube channel.
Yeah. And on that note, I think we're going to do good night on the falling bodies in our skies.
Good night.
Maybe it was the ushers that fell along the way.
Oh, God. Good night.
All right.